So for a bit of a refresher, Sabrina has uploaded a video now titled My Pregnancy. In this video, she outlines troublesome things done by an ex-boyfriend who she was keeping anonymous because she wanted to be the bigger person and make the video about women's healthcare, not vilifying her ex. Which is why, of course, logically, she confirms his identity in 6 hours across multiple platforms and essentially led a brigade against him until she was called out for misleading her audience, at which point she backed down and said she was a victim of everyone else changing her narrative. Sure. And my previous video was showing all of the ways she was being misleading and inconsistent, like the one I just mentioned, and after releasing a statement, Gus went completely silent, except for December 3rd, 2021, when he uploaded a sketch titled The Kid in Gym Class Who Always Got an Ice Pack. But I'll talk about that more a little later because it ties into a point I make later, but in essence, some people thought that the sketch was a shot at Sabrina because it made fun of a kid exaggerating his injuries, and their whole controversy was about him thinking she was exaggerating her medical condition. And so when his sketch was negatively received, Gus went back into silence until January 23rd, when he uploaded a statement on the situation to YouTube. Basically, he says that he was short-sighted and selfish with his actions due to putting his fear above his partner's, and they sought therapy as both a couple and individuals. Make a note of that. He also admits he came to realize that he handles moments of crisis poorly and shuts down, which is consistent with Sabrina's claims, and then he wishes her the best. The apology is basically the same as his Twitter apology. There's nothing really new here, but a lot of people were initially annoyed that he didn't release any kind of statement on YouTube. Before going into the Twitter nonsense, it is worth noting that Gus allegedly deleted multiple critical comments of his video, at least one of which was from a sizable creator whom Gus worked with at least once. He also put a decent amount of emphasis on the fact that these events happened over 3 years ago, and that they dated for 3 years after. You can draw whatever conclusion you want from those 2 points. I'm not here to tell you how to think. And initially, his apology was received really well, with a lot of people basically saying this was a good first step in moving on from this situation. People were calling it human and mature because he in no way attempts to go after Sabrina. And now we must go to Twitter. Our first mistake, but we're doing it anyway. After seeing the video, Sabrina tweeted the following: "Never been to couples therapy, a day in my life." Yeah, get ready for this, because Reddit and Twitter literally changed their opinions of the situation around 5 times in 24 hours. But, okay, so he lied. Okay, well, that's the last nail in the coffin. Gus can't lie in his comeback video. That's unacceptable. Or at least you'd think. Gus responded with his own statement, saying, "Very confused why Sabrina is claiming I lied in my apology. We attended hours of couples coaching sessions with a specialist that Sabrina picked out herself." Make a note of that. During these sessions, we worked on conflict resolution, communication, goals, etc. Here is some proof. And he includes screenshots of 3 sessions worth of invoices. It's worth noting that this is really the first time in this whole situation that Gus stands up for himself, for a lack of better words. Up until this point, he has not once tried to escalate the situation or contradict Sabrina's claims, and mostly has just expressed regret. He hasn't even tried to share his side for whatever reason. It could be because he doesn't want to brigade her with his larger following, it could be because his side makes him look just as bad if not worse, or it could be because people wouldn't really listen to him once they made up their minds. I don't know, and I won't assume. And Sabrina decided to come back with the slam dunk that, actually, it wasn't couples therapy, guys. It was coaching. Ah, it's a nice goalpost you got there, Sabrina. I would ask if you need help moving it, but you are a natural. And the reason I call it moving the goalpost is because it went from never been to couples therapy to actually it was coaching, and it wasn't even about me. She went on to say, quote, "These sessions were not regarding my pregnancy or PTSD at all, but mainly centered around Gus's desire to fuck other people and have me be okay with it." And while most people were still supportive of Sabrina, at least on Twitter, she started to receive a lot more criticism, with people saying she was misleading with her initial statement, and her disclosing the topic of couples counseling, a supposed safe space, was a low blow and inappropriate. And this is the exact same thing that happened in October, where she implied that Gus was consistently abusive, only to reveal that, no, she called him a liar because, get this, he had the audacity to work after her rhinoplasty, a minor cosmetic procedure. And that pattern I was going on about, well, while editing, it went a little further. She ended up doing the same exact thing here. She deleted the second tweet I mentioned, but has still left up the first tweet saying never been to couples therapy. It is literally the same exact thing she did last time, down to the letter. Which, yes, you can be Team Sabrina or whatever, but the first statement was misleading. You cannot argue otherwise. There is a huge difference between accusing someone of fabricating events that did not happen at all and clarifying a technicality. If that clarification was her first response, it would be petty, but fine. Her initial response, though, was misleading and manipulative of her larger audience. And more importantly, once again, it encourages people to theorize and speculate and fill in the gaps with whatever assumptions they can make. Want to know what else is misleading? She turns her nose up at the help that they received, saying unlicensed TikTok dating coaches are not therapists. Check your notes, guys. It was a specialist she chose. She never refutes this major claim from Gus, despite going out of her way to clarify semantics. So, this coach was someone she picked and paid $200 a session for. That is the cost of a Switch Lite. That is half of the cost of a cheap Steam Deck. That is almost the cost of my mid-range monitor. Insert a non-gaming example here. Why did you pick a specialist that cost as much, if not more, than a licensed therapist if it doesn't count? Her own argument literally comes down to either she's full of it, she's stupid, don't worry guys, I'm going to use the same word as a possibility for Gus later, or she's incredibly fortunate and has no concept of money. Either way, there is no reasonable interpretation of this that leaves her looking good when considering her initial statement. Also, Gus wanted to be polygamous? Honestly, that's really hurtful if it's not what you want. I mean, I would be crushed if my partner wanted that. But why are you disclosing what was said in a therapy-like setting? Semantics aside, the point of your session was to create a safe space where you can be vulnerable and assess your relationship. Outing the details of that is a dick move, and a significant number of people took issue with this. And before someone uses the word abuse to justify her actions, as without straw men there'd be way fewer people defending her, wanting to be polygamous is not abusive. Attempting to coerce your partner into this, based on my very limited understanding of abuse, because I'm a YouTube commentary creator, not a psychologist or social worker, so it would be deeply irresponsible for me to throw around terms that I'm not specifically educated on. Right, guys? Right? Other creators? But once coercion is involved, based on my understanding, yeah, that would be abusive. Not her accusation, though. The reason I call this out, too, is it seems hypocritical for a very pro-sex, pro-therapy, and safe space person to divulge what was discussed in a safe space and to reduce polyamory to fucking other people, because now you're in a situation where you can make those things look bad. That said, she does bring up a somewhat valid point, and it would be very misleading to not bring this up from Gus's video. So I'm just going to play the clip.
This medical situation happened over 3 years ago, and we continued to date for a few more years after that happened. And during those few years, we talked about this medical time a lot, and we sought couples therapy together and individual therapy, and this was discussed at length.
Now, technically, he didn't lie. He said the situation 3 years ago has been discussed at length. He technically doesn't say that it was discussed at length in couples therapy. The structure of the sentence could technically mean it happened in individual therapy or outside of therapy as well, but that's semantics, which I called Sabrina out for. So let's just be clear. My interpretation of that statement when I originally saw his video was that they discussed this issue in couples therapy. It is also worth mentioning that the therapy sessions took place in 2021, right before they broke up, 3 years after Sabrina's medical ordeal, so it's not like they were going right after it happened, or according to their receipts at least. Hey, look, the whole point of this video is to cut through the BS here, and that includes Gus's. Even if in my opinion, it's still ultimately semantics and ultimately resulted in her coming out looking worse. Because if there's more to this story, such as if Gus was an abusive partner throughout their relationship, it makes it look like she's grasping at straws as opposed to sitting on a smoking gun. Now at this point, she was getting a bit of backlash for misleading the tens of thousands of people trusting her, right? Just for fun. let's rethink what happened months ago when this exact thing happened. Last autumn, once she received backlash for being misleading, she released a statement saying that she's done talking about this because it's bad for women. Not at all because she looks bad in a situation she escalated. Yeah, that was already pretty flimsy, so it's a good thing she wouldn't do the same exact thing with the new excuse like, I don't know, like mental health, right? Come on! And bafflingly, her final statement is the most misleading and hypocritical thing she's put out thus far, and it's kind of infuriating. So I'm going to go line by line and point out the many inconsistencies that she uses. Hey everyone, I'd like to address the situation with Gus for the hopefully final time. Hopefully implies she was forced to address it at all since her original video. Gus has literally made 0 statements against her. She has chosen to call him out with flimsy claims only to back down when called out. When I uploaded my video last October, my intention was to share my story as a part of my own healing and hopefully to be better understood by peers, audience, friends, etc. I didn't name Gus in that video, and I didn't intend for things to evolve the way they have. My goal wasn't to vilify my ex, but share a very real struggle of mine that, at the time, felt invisible. She confirmed it was him within 6 hours and did so on both Twitter and YouTube. Not to mention, she has liked dozens of tweets of people bashing him, including tweets that pit him and the best friend / creative partner he lost as a result of this against each other. Either way, Sabrina's goal, yes, was to vilify her ex. There's nothing wrong with that either, but to have that be your objective and try to deny that by weaponizing the very real issues you were trying to advocate for is disgusting. Next line. Since then, there have been public statements, but no attempt to reach out to me privately. I could rant about this line for 20 minutes, but I won't. Believe it or not, I'm being a good boy today. Some people online were saying that this was really the smoking gun, that Gus never reached out to her. Are you kidding me? Let's operate under the assumption that Gus was an abuser, as Sabrina refuses to say, but clearly has no issue with others saying. So, you want your abuser to directly contact you, in response to you retaliating to his abuse. Wouldn't that be triggering since this is a situation you've said you're working through in therapy? Also, why would he reach out privately? The fact that she even said that comes off as so spoiled and entitled. You made a video openly calling him out. Why does he have to contact her, but she didn't contact him before making the original video? Seriously, Sabrina, would your actions not imply that him directly contacting you would be perceived as a threat? Especially because contacting you privately would mean it remains a he said, she said situation that you could twist. But no, Sabrina, he should absolutely trust you. You would never reveal the private details of a conversation between you two, right? Therapy has helped, but navigating the situation is difficult and stressful nonetheless. Nice unnecessary buzzword. Mentioning therapy tends to make people much more sympathetic of your actions, and that's something that is very easy to use to manipulate people, but what asshole would ever call someone out for that, right? Call it a low blow if you want, but her mentioning therapy accomplished nothing in this statement other than making it more sympathetic. The apology message and recent apology video are not sufficient and don't accurately reflect my experience. Other than the therapy receipts, Gus has not refuted a single thing she has said. Please, someone tell me what did not reflect her experience when neither of the statements she's referring to contradicted her once. I personally need to accept that true accountability may never come. Sabrina, what the fuck does accountability look like? Since September of 2021, Gus has lost a long-term relationship, not 1, not 2, or 3, but 4 sources of income, not to mention the fact that his reputation is irreversibly damaged. Yeah, he'll bounce back from this financially, but his reputation as a Mr. Rogers of YouTube is gone. Not a single large creator is associating with him anymore, and his best friend and comedy partner severed ties with him. Not to mention, his brother was harassed because of you, despite having nothing to do with the situation, which I'm gonna get to. And he has lost more subscribers than Sabrina even has. She even took the dog! Like, what is left, dude? I'm not saying you need to pity him, but what does accountability possibly look like if this isn't it? And if you mean him wanting to sleep with other people or you not being satisfied with his actions during your rhinoplasty, That's right, I learned how to pronounce it. Recovery. Those are the only 2 accusations that took place within the last 3 years, and guess what? You broke up with him. How do you think the world works? Gus was a bad boyfriend. We got it. Do you think every bad boyfriend or girlfriend has to be thrown in jail? Like, seriously, what's going on in your head? How does the world work in there? Also, want to hear a joke? A straight white man is about to remind Sabrina of her privilege. I know. Funny. You are so privileged to have a platform of your size. Not to mention the fact that you received your platform as a result of your association with other creators. Seriously, at 200K, she had Jax Films in a video as a guest. I wonder who Jax Films was friends with when that video was released. Do you know the privilege that is? Especially when the networking and clout came from someone else. I'm not saying her platform is unearned or that she slept her way up because I'm not a pig, but I am saying she had to work significantly less hard than tons of people with a fraction of what she has, and I don't even mean myself, dude. And then after breaking up with Gus, you were able to turn this platform that he helped you build against him, make his actions public knowledge, and make it so that for the foreseeable future, every time he checks a notification, it is going to be someone telling them how much they hate him. Do you know how many women, how many victims of abuse, which you're presenting yourself as, would kill to have their abuser suffer even one of the countless consequences I outlined? You have the audacity to feel entitled to more? I know I keep using this word, but how spoiled can you get? If your intention is not to ruin your ex's life, what the hell more can you ask for? Thus far, my instinct has been to correct the record, as it hurts to see him giving a, in my view, false impression of the events that took place, but unfortunately, this hasn't brought me the peace I'm looking for. Once again, he has not contradicted her once. In fact, pro-Sabrina people use his statements to make the argument that he confirmed all of her accusations. With that, I won't be engaging any further on this topic. It's not healthy, and I hope you can all respect that. Thank you to everyone who has reached out and offered their support over the last few months. It meant the world to me. Good work here, Sabrina. You get to expose what was said in a therapy-adjacent setting, a massive violation of his privacy, and something that would make you foam at the mouth if it was done for you, go for one last low blow, but it's not healthy, so if he says anything to defend himself, he's the bad guy. I mean, you have exclusively escalated the situation while lying to your audience, but now he needs to be the bigger person.
But I do want to say I'm not looking to cancel anybody. So with that being said, if you enjoy Gus's content, by all means, keep watching him. I'm not going to judge you or anything. If you already have tickets to the tour, great. Enjoy the show.
This whole exchange infuriates me, but unlike months ago when I was the only person I know of to publicly call her out without hiding behind an anonymous account or, let's be real, misogyny, loads more people are calling her out now, even if other creators aren't. Thank God, dude. Let's be absolutely clear about one thing, though. I don't care about Gus. Yes, I've consumed his content for years, including his podcast, and yet I'm not going to defend his actions. I don't care. He's not my buddy, he's entertainment to me. But the claims from Sabrina are that he was a really bad boyfriend in 2018 and again in 2021, at which point they broke up. He has accepted full responsibility, has attended therapy, and has not attempted to make one excuse. But the double standards here are outrageous. People are treating Gus like a criminal while interacting with Sabrina with kid gloves. What do I mean? Hey, this person is calling out Gus for not naming Sabrina in his YouTube video or not reaching out privately. Two things she didn't do either. Hey, we have to accept the apologies we never get. He only apologized twice, not including whatever went down in their relationship. I can't imagine how hard it is to relive your trauma under a microscope. There is only ever more attention brought to it when she calls for attention. He's the one who uploaded an unprompted video out of the blue. What the hell did she do with her original video and tweets calling him out? Her original video came out of nowhere, accused him of so much, and all he said was, "I'm sorry." Is she so strong for facing her trauma, or so weak that hearing him say "I'm sorry" is a personal attack? Are you kidding me, dude? I still haven't even mentioned the fact that Sabrina's supporters have literally been speaking for her and putting words in her mouth this entire time. Not just defending her, which is fine, but putting words in her mouth. I talked about this last time, so I'll be brief. But loads of people, including very prolific creators, have changed Sabrina's accusations. They're also defining her experience for her, using words I am yet to see her use, such as gaslighting and abuse, and have run wild with conspiracy theories and misinformation. Now, as I said months ago, half of the time Sabrina applauds this speculation, and the other half she disavows it, typically when it doesn't support whatever narrative she is supporting. But the ironic thing is, the point of the original story was to have a woman's unique experience be heard instead of being talked over. So now, everybody's talking over her and is telling you what the takeaway is from her story. And ironically, it's mostly men doing this, at least the bigger creators I've seen. But this spiraled into baseless conspiracy theories that then impacted a completely uninvolved party to the point that Sabrina had to step in. Like I mentioned, Gus's comeback sketch received backlash for being a sketch about someone exaggerating a medical condition. Some people thought it was a personal attack. I say that's kind of a stretch unless he's just really stupid. It was most likely just bad optics. And Gus's brother Sven eventually received backlash for, get this, having the audacity to share DNA with him. Bastard! So Sven uploaded a sketch around the same time titled My Diagnosis. It was basically a sketch where he was suffering from extreme symptoms, and the punchline was, he just has a case of the Mondays. Harmless video, just dumb fun, right? Well, it turns out, according to the internet's brightest minds, so this is also a jab at Sabrina, because a case of the Monday is the same as an ectopic pregnancy, guys, and that voice on the phone is Gus's, which just proves Sven is tormenting her. So we're gonna bully him until he deletes the video. Oh, what's that? Now Sven's making an argument about how there was no connection and it wasn't even Gus on the phone? Oh well, we'll teach him a thing or two about... Oh, what's that? Sabrina said to stop bullying her ex's younger brother who has literally nothing to do with her relationship with Gus. Thank goodness she's telling us what to think again. Oh my god, guys, that says so much about her character. Good thing she hasn't been the one encouraging speculation and harassment for the last 3 months, or that would make her responsible. This actually happened. It played out the exact way I said, but not only were anonymous users pushing these theories as facts, but a prolific creator with over 100,000 subscribers also did this in a video with over 300,000 views. And I'm not calling out every larger creator here that I have a problem with, because let's be real, odds are if one of them were to respond, they would most likely do so by just having larger numbers, like making a video and then their fans can dislike and there's no actual logical arguments made. But Duncan is the best example of my issue here, so I'll take that chance. He basically repeats every point I just made fun of, but he even highlights the absurdity of this conspiracy theory and uses it to double down. For some reason.
Either Gus asked Sven to make this and he just said yes, or Sven made this video on his own without Gus and it's eerily similar, or Sven and Gus both worked together to make this video and add to their version of the story. I don't know. Either way does not make any sense to me.
It doesn't make sense because you're making stuff up, dude. Yeah, Duncan literally did what conservative TikTokers do, which is to create hypotheticals that aren't based on reality and then get upset about this hypothetical. And when Sven made the statement I mentioned, Duncan made a condescending and sarcastic post linking to the tweet. Basically, he was implying Sven was lying, assumed Sven was calling him out despite not even alluding to his existence, and he put a cocky-ass lol after addressing what Sven said. He also said Sven was sharing his side of the story as if there's two sides to what happened during Sven's decision-making process. Your side is not equal to his side when it comes to a decision he made because you don't have a side, Duncan. And then when Sabrina said to back off, see this? This was because he realized how bad he was starting to look. Unfortunately, I don't have a screenshot because I wasn't intending on making another video about this situation, but I saw with my own eyes every change I mentioned. There might be more, but I'm not going to use my platform to speculate beyond what I saw with my own 2 eyes and what his comments corroborate. But look at that. He tried speaking for Sabrina, and now other people in his comments, enabled by his video, are refusing to listen to the person they've allegedly been fighting for. and he hasn't retracted his statement. He's been entirely defensive in the comments of his community post and video when people call him out for exactly what I am. Yeah, let's not mince words. This dude should be absolutely embarrassed by this. I don't even care about the rest of his video, but to talk over someone you're identifying as a victim and not even pin a comment saying you were wrong because God forbid us commentary creators take responsibility or hold ourselves accountable, right?
Sven actually took down the sketch from his YouTube channel and made a short Twitter video saying that that reference was never meant to be at Sabrina, and that he thought the allegations were hateful and that he didn't like what he was receiving around Christmas time. I do want to trust Sven's word that this was just an unfortunate coincidence, but either way, I think it's good that that video was taken down so you can't accidentally interpret it a different way.
Fighting for what you think is a righteous cause does not excuse you from putting in the due diligence into what you release on your platform, and it doesn't excuse you from having integrity. Embarrassing. I don't even care about what he said about Gus. This guy should just be absolutely ashamed for causing Sven to wrongfully receive harassment and for putting words in Sabrina's mouth. Because say what you want, but in over the hour I have spent talking about this situation, I haven't put a single word in her mouth. It's called respect. Also, hey, Duncan, my boy, do you have siblings? 'Cause I don't think you do. If my older sibling facing outrage from hundreds of thousands of people told me to make a video making fun of a controversial situation I have nothing to do with, why would I do it? Like, he points out the logical fallacies of this conspiracy, and rather than come to the conclusion that the fact that it makes no sense means he's reading too much into it, he just doubled down. I understand what an opinion or a theory is, you know, and that kind of feels a little important for a commentary creator, you know? And that's where we are now. My throat hurts. I'm gonna have to stay up 2 nights in a row to edit this, and I'm just tired, man. This situation has been a really big disappointment, and my takeaway is the same exact thing as last time. Gus is a bad boyfriend. Sounds like it. It sounds like he's immature, and it sounds like he did things that he needs to learn from and grow from if he hasn't already. But a lot of what happened 3 years ago, but Sabrina is lying and abusing her platform right now. And the fact that so many people are fine with being lied to or refuse to acknowledge they're being lied to because of, oh, Gus was a bad boyfriend, is ridiculous. And I am just so happy that I'm done talking about this for good. Or at least until Sabrina can't help herself again, at which point I'm back to square one. Bye! Hey, thanks for watching. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It actually really helps me out a lot. I make comedic commentary videos, critiques, and video essays every Friday, and if you're not convinced yet, you can check out a recommendation above. Alright, well, thanks again. Bye!